after seeing other people apart from, let's say, Kenyans, celebrities, and everything they do, I definitely want to get there and to be like them, get rich like them, and everything.
If someone is bullied, it has an impact on their image.
We don't want to live the normal life. We don't want to show people you're struggling, so you'll portray someone different from social media.
Before social media, if you ask me what we used to do before social media, I can't really tell you how we used to live our life. But then, like, now, since it's there, it's like it's part of everyone's life. If you don't have social media, it's like you don't have life.
I have an independent mind, so social media is just for fun and just to pass time. It does not influence me in any way.
It's addictive for sure. You can't not look at your phone. A new notification, you want to see what's up, what's happening, and that's addictive. Everything we do is influenced by social media.
Nairobi, the capital city of Kenya. With a population of about 50 million citizens and 80% of this figure consisting of the youth. Considering the rise of the age of technology, social media is something most young people cannot live without. Some may argue that the Western culture has negatively impacted our youth in terms of mental distortion, cyberbullying, isolation, and their safety as they browse the internet. Campus life. Such a crucial time for the youth. For most of them, it is an exciting period that is filled with memorable moments that they will live to tell for decades. For others, however, it is a moment that is filled with a lot of pressure from the newfound life. Many feel like there is no room for mistakes in today's society, yet they made a lot of mistakes as young adults. Students and parents need to know from the very beginning. The campus living experience requires a peaceful mind state. Parents and all concerned need to work around the clock to maintain this state. The majority of students in university are digital era natives, communicating mostly via their smartphones and all kinds of digital solutions that can be found in order to get them the help they need whenever and wherever they need it. Do members of the youth know how to control their finances? For most freshmen, they have to learn to make a budget and stick to it. It might be a challenge dealing with money, but be sure to take control. Otherwise, your pockets will be the capital of Broketown. Set aside money for essentials like food and transportation. Make sure you don't waste too much money on unnecessary materials.
Saving money among the youth is considerably a facade because there's so much. If you look around, you'll see like there's so much that we, the youth, have or we, the youth, want, and it diminishes our saving capacity.
Our parents' generation is made it very hard because of their choices for us to make money and save money. So most of the youth, in my observation, live hand to mouth.
I think it depends on the occasion and the activity that's being done by the youth. For example, there are some youth who would like to spend money on things like partying and stuff like that, and there are those who save. because they are concerned about their future investment, about where they're going to land after school and all those things.
There is also the issue of fancy clothes and technology. Don't try to just fit in. Adapt instead. Adapt to your surroundings, and each new change will help you deal with different situations in different ways. Fitting in might seem like a good option, but in the end, we all want to excel and be proud of ourselves. Fitting in may lead you to go astray, but it will bring a lot of pandemonium in one's life.
Everyone right now wants to get an iPhone, the latest model of the iPhone, the latest model of a Samsung phone. But you forget the simple things matter in life, because as long as you have a phone that operates, a phone that you can talk, you can call someone, a phone that you can text someone, that's all that matters. This social media thing is just so, it's taking a toll on our youth. That's making us want to keep up with the trends. You have the latest iPhone, you have the latest filters, you have the latest camera quality, so it's just too much.
Something about the current trends is the current trends. It's just the way life has to go. Life doesn't have a specific script.
Technology and fashion now in this day and era have definitely opened up more spaces for the youth to be more expressive. Take, for example, YouTube and things like Instagram influencers. Those things have kind of widened the gap that normal employment would not give.
It is a disappointing future when you've grown up your whole life knowing that you're keeping up with the latest trends and with the latest fashions, and at some point you realize that the trends are too many. The world is too big to keep up with, at some point. And, when will they start earning their own money and then realizing that you can actually do all these things that they used to?
A new poll released by TIFA, standing for Trends and Insights for Africa, has revealed that over 73% of the youth get their first sexual encounter at 13 years old. The study shows that 25% of students have engaged in sexual intercourse, with the majority of them being male. Among those students, more than half have watched pornographic content, with 62% being male. Equally, half of the students had a discussion on sexual-related matters at least once in their past. Female students are seen to have discussed these issues more than male, with most having discussed such matters with counselors, professionals, or their parents. While on holiday, many go for recreational activities, while others engaged in sexual intercourse as a holiday activity.
That's a very touchy subject, and I don't think putting constraints on the internet is necessarily going to work, because we the youth are very stubborn. You tell us not to, and the first thing we want to is to do it, because why are you limiting my freedom to access the things that are readily available for me?
Porn is some method of communication. Who decides it's immoral, it happens. It's not out there. This is something that happens. If you look at it from the other side, prostrate guys who are specializing in it say masturbation is good for your health.
Well, first of all, you cannot regulate pornography and whatever, all those things. But what you can do is teach the youth to have morals and to have values, and to, but at the end of the day, it's a personal decision. Yeah, even if the government comes in and says porn is illegal, if you're caught, you're arrested, all those kind of things. It comes down to the individual, because if you want to access porn, you will access it. Yeah.
have modern Kenyans become helicopter parents that they are taking an overprotective and excessive interest in their children? A generation is being created that cannot handle complex, emotional, mental, or physical tasks. Spoiled children who cannot handle rejection or take no for an answer. Such parents deny the children the space to make mistakes and later correct themselves. This inevitably leads them to become better problem solvers and decision makers in this digital era where most conversations have moved from offline to online platforms.
Everyone's child is their child, and how they want to raise the child is how they want to raise the child. You cannot come in and tell them how to do it because they know best for their children.
Every parent is different, just like we always advocate for every individual being unique in their own way. So I feel like you cannot necessarily look at a parent and say this is doing the right thing and this one is doing the right thing. Also, children are different. Other children will differ. And I guess it's just up to the parent to adjust themselves and parent accordingly.
If you're trying to say kids these days are being bought gadgets that maybe in the 90s we never had, I mean, times are always different. You are a firstborn in your case study is you are a firstborn in your family. Your lastborn is always treated differently. And it's always because of the changing times. Probably when you're a child, your parents were maybe civil servants, check to mouth. Right now they have a couple of investments. They can afford to do anything for the child and the family.
I definitely think that the parents are to blame. You cannot blame the child for how they grew up. You have to blame the environment in which they grew up as well. So, the parents are, responsible for not giving them a sort of like appreciation or, appreciation for the value of money and other more important things than, being cool and being relevant in a society that doesn't even care about you.
To grasp the gravity of the issues concerning online bullying, we first have to understand what it is. Cyberbullying is any form of bullying which takes place online or on a range of platforms including new interactive applications, game consoles, social networks, and etc. Most young people spend their time on social media doing all sorts of absurd things. From stalking people's timelines, to dashing out hurtful words to innocent individuals. This has been the norm, and it truly is unfortunate. Some young people might have self-esteem issues, and this simply bashes their confidence. This is why we have a rampant rise of suicidal cases among the youth in our country.
Cyberbullying is definitely a disease in this day and era. And what we don't realize is that it's killing so many people. That's why mental health is becoming such a pervasive issue, because such things as cyberbullying, the internet has given us this platform. Yes, it's good, but it definitely has its disadvantages, and this is one of it. It should not be encouraged. In fact, we should speak more about it because I don't think enough is being done about cyberbullying. And come up with solutions on how to fight it because it's definitely a disease and it's killing the society.
Growing up, kulikuwa na mchongoano, right? Nobody complained about it back then. Right now, just because it happens in a speedy manner, it doesn't make any difference, right? It is part of life.
Some youth actually go for people who have low self-esteem and they hide it in memes. They try to, in a way, poke their emotions when they really need to sensitize the content they put in place in the internet especially. I think memes sometimes should be sensitized because at times they do hurt people and these people are driven to suicidal thoughts because of what people are saying on the internet. The internet can really, really disturb you.
Bullying will always be there. What the people in charge, the guardians, the schools, the decision makers should do is create a place of refuge for this kind of kids. Like provide counseling services, give them opportunities to be listened to by someone to advise them, those kind of things.
I think bullying is dangerous in any form, online or offline. And it's really, you can see the effects, even from things like the school shootings in, places like America. Those kids are, they're really hurt, and the situations that they're going through at home and then in school again, this kind of bullying shouldn't be allowed. It's hard enough when you're going through a hard time through your life, and then, on your phone, there's someone over there in your private space, someone there dissing you, making fun of you, and it feels like it's endless. So I think there should be ways to stop this kind of thing, especially on like social media. If it's going to be allowed for the kids to be on the media, then you should have ways to, curb bullying, stop, people using the wrong kind of language and things like that, yeah.
With the rapid development of technology and the widespread use of the internet, new forms of leisure activities such as online video games and social networking have emerged. Many individuals, including children and the members of the youth, are really addicted to gaming and watching television. The video game industry has become one of the largest industries in terms of both money and audience. For a small minority, playing video games has been reported as being potentially problematic and/or addictive.
If we look at things like gaming and television as a vice, then we're definitely killing our society, because many professions are being born out of this gaming and television. People are becoming more expressive. And I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing to be particularly hooked to these things, but as with everything, too much of something is not good. Maybe we should put constraints.
Because of television, and I will call it a larger media access, you get to know what you are about. It brings a wide array of the options that are there in the world. Right now, you know that you cannot only become just a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher, traditional stuff. Right now, you can be a pianist, a cellist, Salt Bay guy, and make it in life. But at the same time, it really has done more harm than good, in my opinion. That shows people who are passionate about what they do, however not traditional as it might seem, might still get you there. You can still get that satisfaction in life. You can still provide for your family. You can still have that, I'd say, just passion to do whatever you have to do, and people pay good money to watch it or do it.
I think any addiction is a dangerous thing, and just because, gaming and watching TV is also something that we should take seriously, because it is time consuming and it can waste a lot of people's times. Although you could also see it as, in today's age, there's a new space where gaming is actually a career choice, And so that time spent playing video games could be time spent nurturing a talent. I think any addiction is a dangerous thing. Gaming is just as bad as alcoholism, in the sense that it can drive you away from your family and your priorities. But also, in this day and age, gaming is also a career choice, something kids can now do and earn money from. But it's not something everyone can do, and so we really need to understand who the people that are addicted to gaming. We need to be able to identify and probably help them.
I love gaming, and it's not like I do it every single day. It's not like I do it because I have nothing else to do. Gaming is a way of releasing tension on those pads. You crash them, you crash the TV screen, just releasing your tension. The other side of the spectrum is the people who are becoming addicted to it. They don't sleep, they don't eat, they don't shower, they don't clean up, they do nothing because of these things. So I'm guessing that you just have to monitor yourself and how and for how long you're doing these activities for.
Trap music is a culture emanating from the West. It is filled with a lot of explicit content, and some might seem vile and disturbing to a lot of members in our society. The artists from the West, however, consider it to be a form of expression of how their lives were. This is in reference to their childhood and upbringing all the way through high school. They also talk about how most of their families were on welfare and living in harsh conditions in the ghetto. Is it right for our young men and women here in Kenya to imitate that lifestyle and rename it to become shrap? A mixture of sheng, a slang here in Kenya, and trap?
I feel like we've completely misunderstood the West, because not necessarily, just because they're doing something doesn't mean that it's going to impact us badly. I feel like their music scene has enabled us to grow and to expand, and I think people like Ethic feel like it's okay to be who they are and to express themselves as they feel because they've been inspired.
Life everywhere is pretty much the same. Ethic is not copying any Western culture. This is exactly what happens here. If you go back when the big names back in the days, Kina Nonini, were singing their music, it was considered bad stuff. But it was exactly what was happening in culture. If it was coming out of high school, going to, I don't know, maybe Stone somewhere, behind the classrooms, behind the estate, it used to happen. They just bring it to the light. Whatever you do with that information, if you're a person of authority, if you're a guardian, either way your child will have access to that information, either directly or through the friends. It is upon you to tell them, yes, this happens. Don't do it.
The question of music is a question of culture, and that's really a personal thing, I guess, or depends on the individual. But I mean, I don't listen to trap music myself, but I don't think it's that much of an issue, because, you know, everyone is drawn to something that is real and authentic and raw, and so people like to be told things as they are. You know, the whole thing about being explicit is what they're selling. That's their MO. That's what people want to listen to. So I don't think that's the problem. The question maybe is the behaviors of the people that listen to this kind of music, and, you know, that is a question maybe of their upbringing. Because, you know, does the music really incite their violence or their sexuality and such? It's very questionable. But I don't think that it's the music that is the problem. It's a censorship thing, yes. I mean, you know, don't let children listen to, you know, something that is inappropriate for them to put any ideas into their minds. But with the right kind of laws and prohibitions, then, you know, sensible people should be able to tell what they want to listen to and what they don't want to listen to.
Double up, stack it up, twin tower. Get the stick, pay the hits, I'm allowing. Start up a bird, net, church, adjust the curtain, LV Virgin.
My choice! My choice!
There has always been this tension between men and women about dress code. Women feel oppressed by men when they are told short skirts are indecent. This is where we had the whole debacle when our young ladies were embracing a movement labeled My Dress, My Choice. Are our young ladies from universities imitating the dress code of the Western culture way too much?
Because you feel she's indecent. Who defines decency? How long should my dress be? This is something that we should not, it's a can of worms. We should not let this thing get out of hand.
I personally love fashion, and I learn from everywhere and anything. And I don't think that, first of all, that we should be told what to wear or what not to wear. Again, my dress, my choice. I advocate for that very strongly. And I don't think that just because girls have decided to wear whatever makes them happy is imitating the West.
Dress code is more of a cultural thing. I'd invite you to look at the dress code in Kenya in the 70s, right? You will see our parents, what they used to wear, especially our moms in the 70s, right? Very short skirts and everything. In decency, you go to Samburu right now, ladies are topless. It's a cultural thing. You want to claim, if a guy wants to claim it's indecent, it's just because they don't have the moral high ground to let a woman be as she wants to be culturally and just let her be. Is that issue you want to touch, but you can't?
Yeah, I don't think people should regulate the way others dress. I think kids should be allowed to dress the way they want to dress, but also they should be taught on how to dress during whatever situation, you know, like how to dress for a wedding, how to dress in school, how to dress when you're going out. But you know, you can't really teach that. So it should just be, the guardians should create a culture where the kids can emulate them.
In any cases of indecency, do not blame the victim, blame the perpetrator, because why were they thinking whatever they were thinking in order to lead them to do whatever they were doing? But it's so sad how we always claim to be, you know, civilized and all these things, but in reality, we just have our mentality. We are just, for lack of a better terms, we are just fake.
This introduces the issue of embracing melanin. Bleaching is something that the youth have often made fun of, but I for one sincerely never see the comedy in it. This is where we have our young ladies from universities using beauty cosmetics to look different. Is it some form of brainwashing such that a young lady is embarrassed to be a dark-skinned African?
Hating your own skin, doesn't matter if you're white or brown or black for that matter. There are white people who want to become darker, turning such issues. They call it making myself beautiful or whatever. When you grow up from the first Barbie doll or the first cartoons you're watching, they're all the lighter skin colors. When you want to appear in camera, they'll always have to airbrush your skin. You know, that definitely conditions the mind. You are an animal in the end, right? And animals get conditioned. That's what Gregory Mendel did, right? So yes, it is a much more of a brainwash.
Bleaching actually is a form of trying to build your self-esteem. I don't feel like these ladies should be bleaching, but I can't really inflict anything on them. So I feel like if bleaching is what makes them happy, it's well and good, but they should also know that there are diseases that will come from this bleaching. They should be empowered by where they come from and not want to look like the white people. Yeah.
There's a lot of brainwashing that has gone into that, because these kids don't see the benefit of being black. They don't see the importance or the value of embracing your blackness. They prefer to be white compared to the Western guys and what they see. But they should just be taught to embrace, to love themselves, to accept what they are and to be who they are.
Yeah, the fact that anyone is ashamed or embarrassed to be who they are naturally is a huge problem. It is a brainwashing problem, you know, something that, you know, you've heard society or the culture around you is that lighter is better in some way, and it's not okay, it's not right, but it's not shown enough in the media. Like, there's a lot more brainwashing of the fact that, you know, like, white people do things better or lighter skinned people have it better in life, and it's not true. You know, Africa doesn't need saving, black people don't need saving, and we shouldn't be shown that, you know, being black is some kind of disadvantage, because it's not. And I think, you know, we definitely need a lot more media, a lot more attention to something like this. It's a huge problem. There's a whole industry where, you know, people are trying to lighten themselves and you know, change their hairs and their skin, and it's wrong.
I'm a gay person, I'm HIV positive, and I'm the founder of Maigo Men Against AIDS Youth Group.
My name's Lily Simon. I'm a trans woman, and I'm one of the founders of MEGO, Men Against AIDS.
The LGBT community. This is in reference to lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transgenders, and queers. They have always been highlighted as outcasts in the African culture. This is a topic that is sensitive, and for all the members of the LGBT community, coming out of the closet, which is basically revealing their true sexual orientation, is a huge deal. The debate, however, is whether marrying members of the same sex is moral, or will it ever be legalized in our country.
I feel like it should not even be called a community, because it comes out as like they're being segregated. Like, we are this community and you are the LGBT community. I feel like it should just be, we're one people who have different sexual preferences, and yeah, it should not actually be called a community. That's my opinion again.
Okay, so this issue of coming out of the closet and you want the rights and everything, I would just ask you one thing. Did you go out of your way to tell people that you have sex with women?
You know, whether you refuse or accept it, it will always be there. So the more you fight it, the more they fight back. So I think it's something that they should just, we should let them do what they do. Yeah, because they're human beings like us. So you should not judge someone based on their sexual preference, yeah? So since the West brought it in, it's already here. Our culture doesn't allow that, but since it's already here, let's just move with it, but let's respect what is there. Let's not disrespect them because they are what they are. Yeah.
The LGBT community had moved to court seeking to repeal parts of the constitution that have criminalized same-sex marriages, arguing that matters of intimacy cannot be regulated by the courts.
For the people who, have, different sexual orientations, I think they should be allowed, honestly, to explore and live out their lives with their own sexual orientations. It's not anyone else's business what they do or who they are. I believe that people should be allowed to explore their own sexualities and their own lives through their own orientations and the way that they think, the way they feel. Those are personal matters, and of course, a lot of people will say that it's a moral issue, but not to me. To me, it's a personal issue. It has nothing to do with the way, those people interact or who those people really are. These are things that are private to them and personal to them and them alone.
In traditional Kenyan cultures, people value human life, morality, respect for people's property, and good leadership. There were many things that different cultures valued, but they may not have been looked at in the same perspective by this specific culture or race. Our interest in this documentary, however, was about those young people who have a universal preference as opposed to our beautiful Kenyan culture. Let us take time and examine ourselves.